Nobody saw this coming. What started as rumors about 50 Cent's alleged eviction quickly spiraled into one of the most shocking confrontations in recent hip-hop drama. Fans initially thought it was just social media chatter, another online dispute to scroll past. But then Jim Jones stepped in and everything changed. His response wasn't just a simple denial or comment. It was bold, public, and direct, leaving the internet stunned. And if that wasn't enough to send shockwaves, reports began circulating that authorities had shown up. Suddenly, what seemed like a personal beef between two iconic artists escalated into a real-life scene with potential legal and safety implications. Social media timelines exploded as clips, screenshots, and reactions flooded every platform. Every comment section became a battlefield of fans picking sides, speculating, and questioning what actually happened. The tension was palpable. Was this just another publicity stunt? Or was it something far more serious that could have real consequences? People started dissecting every post, every caption, every subtle hint, trying to piece together a story that was still unfolding. Analysts and insiders warned that this situation could have lasting effects on reputations, careers, and relationships within the rap community. In a world where a single viral moment can ignite chaos, this clash between Jim Jones and 50 Cent became more than a rumor. It became a defining moment. And as more details continue to emerge, one thing is clear: this story isn't over, and the fallout could shock even the most seasoned hip-hop fans. Nobody saw this coming. What started as a rumor about 50 Cent's alleged eviction quickly escalated into something that no one could ignore. At first, it was just whispers circulating on social media, fleeting mentions in fan groups, comments under posts, and cryptic replies from people claiming insider info. Most thought it was just another online clash, another sensationalized story designed to generate clicks. But within hours, the narrative exploded, and the internet realized this was far bigger than a typical beef. Jim Jones' response to the claims wasn't subtle. It wasn't the typical "I have nothing to say" or a brief tweet that fans scroll past. No, this time, he went directly at the heart of the rumor. He addressed it head-on, calling out what he described as misinformation and clarifying his side with authority. His words carried weight. His tone sent a message. He wasn't just defending himself, he was setting the record straight. And in a community where image, pride, and credibility mean everything, that approach was as bold as it was dangerous. Then came the shocking twist. Reports started surfacing that authorities were involved. Police were reportedly present at one of the locations connected to the eviction claims. Whether they were responding to a potential disturbance, verifying legal concerns, or simply investigating the growing chaos, their presence added an unprecedented layer of tension. Fans weren't just witnessing online drama anymore. Real-life stakes were now involved. Social media timelines filled with speculation, screenshots of alleged interactions, and debates over what the authorities' involvement truly meant. People began analyzing every word, every clip, every post. The story had officially jumped from entertainment gossip to something dangerously close to reality. Everyone started asking the same question: what really happened between Jim Jones and 50 Cent? Was it a misunderstanding blown out of proportion, or was there a deeper conflict simmering beneath the surface, now spilling into public view? The ambiguity made the situation explosive. Every fan had an opinion. Every commentator, YouTube channel, and Instagram page tried to dissect every fragment of information. Some argued Jim Jones was justified. Others believed the claims about 50 Cent's eviction were credible. Meanwhile, the uncertainty only fueled the drama further. The timeline of events as pieced together by fans and insiders was jaw-dropping. It began with cryptic messages online, subtle jabs in comments, and a few suggestive posts that hinted at tension. Then, suddenly, the alleged eviction rumors leaked. The internet went into overdrive. Memes, reaction videos, and speculation threads multiplied. Each new post added fuel to the fire. Then Jim Jones publicly responded. His statement wasn't just informative, it was aggressive, decisive, and calculated. The clarity of his position shocked viewers and forced people to reconsider everything they had assumed about the situation. Meanwhile, The alleged involvement of authorities added a layer of danger that made this story impossible to ignore. Speculation ranged wildly. Some believed the police presence was precautionary, others argued it was an escalation due to potential threats or disturbances. Social media users debated endlessly, dissecting security camera footage, eyewitness accounts, and even past interactions between the artists. Every detail became scrutinized as if the world was watching a real-life thriller unfold. The psychological impact on fans was immediate. Shock, disbelief, excitement, and fear mixed together. Some expressed outrage at the idea of 50 Cent's eviction, questioning the legitimacy of the claim. Others expressed concern over the public nature of Jim Jones' response and the involvement of authorities. Comment sections were flooded with arguments, predictions, and calls for calm. Some fans even tried to trace the origins of the rumors, posting screenshots from obscure forums and private chats, attempting to identify the first mention of the eviction claims. What made this situation even more tense was the history between the two artists. Jim Jones and 50 Cent are not strangers. Both have long-standing reputations in hip-hop, each with loyal fan bases and a shared understanding of the competitive, high-stakes nature of the industry. Past interactions, subtle disses, and indirect references in interviews, the alleged police involvement added an undeniable sense of realism and gravity. Social media users shared everything from blurry images to hearsay reports, debating the credibility of each claim. The story no longer felt like online drama. It felt like something that could spill into reality, something that could have tangible consequences for those involved. The stakes were higher, and the audience felt it. Despite the chaos, there was an unmistakable pattern. Both sides were being careful, measured, and strategic. While Jim Jones responded publicly, the messages were calculated. 50 Cent, meanwhile, remained largely silent, letting the public interpret events while staying out of direct confrontation. This push and pull created a tension that kept audiences glued to every update, every post, and every news article. In the midst of all this, the story highlighted something deeper about modern hip-hop culture, the intersection of social media, public image, and real-life consequences. What happens online doesn't stay online. Rumors, statements, and public reactions can ripple through communities, influence reputations, and even involve legal authorities. In this case, a rumor about eviction triggered a cascade of reactions that no one could have anticipated, showing just how volatile the current landscape has become. As fans continue to dissect every angle, one thing remains clear: this isn't just about a rumor or a response. It's about reputation, control, and influence. Jim Jones' decision to respond publicly demonstrates the importance of narrative in today's industry. His bold move ensured that his side of the story would be heard, while simultaneously escalating attention in ways that few could have predicted. By the end of the first wave of reactions, the situation had reached a tipping point. The combination of public statements, fan speculation, viral content, and the involvement of authorities created a perfect storm. Everyone was waiting for the next development, another statement, a clarification, or an official response that could either calm the frenzy or escalate it further. And as the dust began to settle temporarily, one undeniable fact remained: the story had captivated millions, generated unprecedented attention, and reminded everyone why social media, celebrity culture, and real-life consequences are inseparably linked in modern hip-hop drama. This was just the beginning. The next moves, the next statements, and the next developments would determine whether this situation remained an online spectacle or evolved into something far more significant. This was just the beginning. The tension that had already gripped social media wasn't fading, it was intensifying. Fans, influencers, and insiders alike were all watching, waiting, and analyzing every tiny movement for clues about what might happen next. Jim Jones' public response had set the tone, but it had also opened the door to questions that nobody could easily answer. Almost immediately, speculation began to branch out in multiple directions. Some claimed that the eviction rumors were exaggerated, designed solely to provoke a reaction and generate engagement. Others argued that the involvement of authorities signaled a much deeper issue, that this wasn't just online drama, but a real-life escalation that could have serious consequences. The mere presence of law enforcement added an unprecedented weight to the situation, making it impossible for anyone to treat it lightly. Insiders hinted that private conversations were happening behind the scenes. Managers, lawyers, and close associates of both Jim Jones and 50 Cent were reportedly scrambling to handle the fallout, attempting to prevent misunderstandings from spiraling further. Every phone call, meeting, and text message carried urgency, because in this high-stakes environment, a single misstep could transform a rumor into a crisis. Meanwhile, the public's response reached fever pitch. Social media timelines were flooded with debates, memes, and reaction videos dissecting every angle of the story. Fans were analyzing posts, screenshots, and captions with a magnifying glass, trying to decode hidden meanings or subtle signals. Every action, whether a like, a comment, or an unverified post, became a potential clue in this ongoing narrative. The story had transformed from a simple rumor into a fully fledged cultural phenomenon. As the hours passed, the rumor mill expanded. New reports suggested that the authorities' presence was more serious than initially thought. Some claimed that they were responding to a potential disturbance, while others insisted there might have been legal complications tied to the alleged eviction. The lack of verified information only fueled the frenzy, creating an environment in which speculation was often treated as fact. This chaotic atmosphere created the perfect storm for tension between the two camps. Jim Jones, with his public response, had made it clear that he would not remain silent. But 50 Cent's strategy remained largely unseen, a calculated silence that only intensified curiosity. Audiences were left wondering whether he would respond, how he would respond, and what the ramifications might be if he did. That silence, paradoxically, became a form of communication in itself, heightening anticipation and keeping the story alive. Analysts pointed out that this situation highlighted the complex dynamics of modern celebrity conflicts. Social media amplifies every gesture, turning minor disputes into global spectacles within hours. A single tweet or comment can trigger millions of reactions, potentially influencing public perception, reputation, and even legal proceedings. The combination of a public figure, a viral rumor, and the involvement of authorities created a high-stakes scenario that few could ignore. Community voices in the hip-hop world began speaking out as well. Some praised Jim Jones for addressing the claims directly, viewing it as a demonstration of accountability and control over his narrative. Others criticized the situation entirely, emphasizing how quickly rumors can escalate and how dangerous it is when real-life authorities are drawn into a celebrity feud. Both perspectives reflected the broader concerns about the interplay between fame, rumor, and consequence in today's music industry. Behind the scenes, subtle movements indicated that not everyone was comfortable with the public spectacle. Team members reportedly urged caution, emphasizing that the next steps needed to be measured. The risk of misinterpretation or escalation was high, and in the digital age, any statement could be taken out of context and amplified globally. Meanwhile, media outlets, both mainstream and independent, began framing the story with dramatic headlines designed to capture attention. Phrases like "confrontation escalates" and "authorities get involved" became standard, generating clicks while simultaneously adding to the narrative tension. The framing of events by news media created a feedback loop. Public speculation fueled coverage, which in turn fueled more speculation. Fans, too, began to consider the historical context. Jim Jones and 50 Cent are not only well known for their music, but also for their past interactions. The alleged involvement of authorities continued to dominate discussion. Eyewitnesses and unverified sources fueled speculation, with conflicting reports about the nature and purpose of their presence. The uncertainty heightened the stakes, emphasizing the real-world consequences of what began as a rumor. Fans were compelled to follow every update, knowing that the story had tangible implications beyond entertainment. As social media engagement soared, reaction videos and breakdowns became increasingly detailed. Some content creators claimed insider knowledge, while others relied on meticulous analysis of online behavior and posts. The narrative evolved rapidly, creating multiple parallel storylines and interpretations that coexisted simultaneously. Fans had to navigate a maze of information, much of it unverified, while trying to understand the real situation. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, legal advisors and close associates reportedly discussed risk management strategies. Their goal was to prevent escalation while protecting reputations, careers, and legal standing. Every public statement was carefully considered, highlighting the delicate balance between transparency, caution, and maintaining authority over one's own narrative. By the end of the first week, the story had achieved global attention. Fans, media outlets, and industry observers were all engaged, analyzing developments in real time. The combination of Jim Jones' public response, 50 Cent's strategic silence, and the alleged involvement of authorities created an unprecedented level of drama, complexity, and anticipation. One key takeaway emerged: the speed and reach of social media have transformed celebrity conflicts. Rumors, statements, and cryptic posts can escalate rapidly, creating real-world consequences that extend beyond digital platforms. In this case, the rumor of an eviction, amplified by a direct response from Jim Jones and the reported involvement of authorities, demonstrated how fragile reputations can be and how quickly public perception can evolve. As of now, the story remains unresolved. Fans continue to follow every development, analyzing posts, speculating motives, and debating potential outcomes. What started as a single rumor has evolved into a complex, multi-layered narrative with implications for the individuals involved, their careers, and the broader hip-hop community. And as the situation continues to unfold, one fact is undeniable: this chapter has captured the attention of millions, generated intense discussion, and shown the power of social media, celebrity influence, and real-world consequences in modern hip-hop culture. And as the situation continued to unfold, the tension reached a level nobody could have predicted. Jim Jones' public response had set the tone, but 50 Cent's strategic silence created a void filled by speculation, rumors, and online debates. Fans weren't just watching a story unfold, they were living it in real time, dissecting every post, every caption, every social media interaction, and theorizing about the possible outcomes. By now, the presence of authorities had become central to the narrative. Reports suggested that law enforcement was not merely a precaution, they were actively monitoring the situation. Whether for public safety, potential disputes, or verification of claims, their involvement turned what could have been an isolated feud into a story with tangible consequences. The idea that this conflict might spill into real life made the drama feel immediate and dangerous. Social media timelines were filled with eyewitness reports, blurry videos, and screenshots of official-looking vehicles, all of which fueled intense discussion and heightened anxiety among fans. Industry insiders began sharing confidential insights with select outlets, emphasizing how rare it is for a social media dispute to reach this scale. Typically, online feuds resolve quickly or remain confined to digital spaces. But in this case, every action had ripple effects. Legal advisors were involved, management teams were on high alert, and both camps were reportedly consulting carefully before making even the smallest public statement. The stakes had shifted from entertainment to reputational preservation and potentially legal consequences. In the midst of all this, fan communities began splitting into factions. Some supported Jim Jones, praising his boldness and decisiveness. They argued that addressing rumors head-on was the only way to maintain credibility in an industry where silence can be misinterpreted as weakness. Others sympathized with 50 Cent, interpreting his silence as a calculated move, a strategy that allowed him to control perception without inflaming the situation. Every fan theory, post, and reaction video contributed to the global conversation, amplifying tension and keeping the story alive far beyond the initial viral moment. Then came the unexpected twist. A cryptic message surfaced from someone loosely connected to the situation. It didn't directly confirm the eviction rumors or the details of Jim Jones' response, but it hinted at behind-the-scenes negotiations and efforts to prevent escalation. Screenshots of the message went viral, leading to a flurry of speculation about whether the conflict had been fully resolved or if there were still unspoken tensions waiting to surface. This ambiguity created a unique psychological dynamic. Audiences were simultaneously relieved and anxious. Relief, because no immediate confrontation or legal fallout had occurred. Anxiety, because the underlying issues had not been fully addressed, leaving the door open for future escalation. Fans were compelled to stay engaged, refreshing timelines and forums for any shred of news. Every silence, every deleted post, and every subtle social media interaction became a potential clue. Meanwhile, both camps began focusing on damage control and narrative management. Jim Jones leveraged his platform to emphasize